Hello, my name is Ricardo, and I'll be talking about interpersonal skills. One of the skills is verbal communication, so what we say and how we say it. With verbal communication, you have to think before you say something. Sometimes when you are thinking about something and say what you are thinking, it can come out as unfiltered. And you could say something you weren't meant to say or didn't mean to say. For example, if someone at work asks you for your opinion on their work, and you go and see, and in your mind you think, well, that's sloppy and messy, well, you are not going to tell them that to your coworker because you're supposed to be helping them grow. Rather than telling them they are sloppy and messy, you could advise them on how to make it better. Also, how we say things affects people too. If you are trying to give advice and you just say clean it up, people might think you're bossing them. On the other hand, if you tell them, how it would make it better, if you organize it and brush this up, that would make it look so much better. But it looks great so far. So keep pushing. By telling them that, by telling that to them to clean it up, it doesn't help at all, and it could come off as a negative way. So by saying it in this way, at least you're advising them and telling them what they could improve on without them without making them feel bad about their work. Another thing with verbal communication is that when speaking, uh, don't be nervous. Just talk. Because if you talk fast, people won't be able to understand you. I know this from experience, and I know that I need to work on this because I get nervous and talk too fast. It makes it hard for people to understand me. So what I do now, what I try to do now is relax and just take my time and make sure everyone understands when I'm speaking. One thing that I think is important in interpersonal skills is to be positive. We all have emotions and we feel everybody's aura and vibes and emotions as well. For example, from the experience at work, there's this coworker who is always complaining, always in a bad mood, and is always sleepy and always has a bad attitude, like a bad attitude overall. Whenever I have to work with this said coworker, I don't want to approach them or communicate as much as I want to because anything could set them off. Also, I could feel the negativity which makes me gloomy and not want to be around the person and not want to work. They are not approachable whatsoever. So instead of being negative, what we should do is be more positive because that just makes a great environment overall. And if you're positive all the time people would want to talk to you and be able to communicate with you properly. Another important thing about interpersonal skills is to be empathetic, like empathize. I know a couple of years ago I was in a bad mood and I didn't really want to communicate with anybody. I really didn't want to talk to anybody. My coworker came to me and demanded to test something, and I told him I would do it once I was done with what I was doing, and to just leave it in the cart for me. But he insisted on him testing it himself because he thought I was busy. He knew I was busy, and he demanded to test it himself. But he demanded to me to tell him the test command. And I responded that I would do it once I was done with what I was doing. Well, he went to tell my supervisor that I didn't want to help him at all. And then I snapped because I told him I would once I was done. My coworker then began insulting me and it hurt my feelings. So I talked back to him. Well, in the first place, I shouldn't be in a bad mood when I go to work. That was my first mistake. And the second thing is that you never know what is going on in people's life. Because later that day, I went to apologize for my misbehavior, and he apologized as well. I told him I was just having a bad day, and he said he was just annoyed because at any time they were going to call him to let him know his mom passed away. He was like, "I'm here and she's in Vietnam. I really can't do anything, so I'm just worrying about her, and I'm really in a bad emotional place right now." Well, we made up, and to the day we are still coworkers. So a really big part. So in result, I just say to be empathetic, because you never know what's going on in people's lives, and in order to be able to communicate with people, you need to understand their view, like their point of view and what's going on in their lives. But yep, that's what I that's what I wanted to talk about in about interpersonal skills. Thank you.